Welcome back to the Mesozoic Media Park. So last time we worked on Fantasia, the Rite of Spring. This time we're doing another Disney project, that being Disney's Dinosaur. So I do have some ideas for this Disney's Dinosaur enclosure. Obviously, we're going to include the Carnotaurs, and we're going to include like Aladar and you know, all of those other characters that are the main characters essentially, except for the lemurs, because the lemurs do not exist in this game. So someone brought up like a really good idea where I can like recreate the dinosaur ride from Disney World, which is a ride that I have been on. Fun fact, it's a really cool ride, and a ride that won't be here very much longer. Like it's beginning of next year, it will be gone. So maybe what I was thinking is I could combine the movie with the ride. So it's like maybe you see the events of the movie from the ride, you know? That's what I'm kind of thinking here. Now, actually, what I'm thinking I want to do, and I don't know how well this is going to work out, but I think I actually want to make the building that the Disney's Dinosaur ride takes place at. I'm not good at buildings, so I don't know how well this is going to go, but we're going to give it a shot. We're going to give it a try. We're going to try this out. Man, this is I don't ever do this. I'm way outside my comfort zone, guys. I don't know. I'm scared. I don't do buildings. Okay, I have two sides completed, right? Like that. Okay, and then I need to like build this little center thing right here, and then I also need to build like the rest of it, basically. A lot of the pictures that I'm looking at are really kind of zoomed in. They're mostly focused on the Aladar statue. It's all slowly starting to come together. I mean, fortunately for me, it's a relatively simple building, so there's really not too much I need to do here. Okay. I'm actually really not hating it. So from what I remember, I think a lot of this right here is like the line to get into the ride. I don't know how functionable this whole thing is going to be, but if I remember properly, I think the entrance to the ride is on this side. So maybe I can have the entrance be over here as well. Most of this is going to be hidden, by the way. Okay, this is what I got. So you'll notice that there's like a huge space over here. That's because I want to put a giant T-Rex skeleton in here, because the reason why I want to do that is because when you're waiting in line, you actually come across like a lot of really cool statues and fossils, and right in the middle, there's actually a Carnotaurus skeleton. We have a T-Rex skeleton in the game. Maybe I can possibly make it look like a Carnotaurus skeleton, but if we just have the T-Rex, it's fine, because the body is actually a T-Rex in the line anyway. And then you'll get onto the ride over here, which will lead you into the rest of the enclosure. So, yeah, I'm gonna see you after the next cut, and we'll see how I've done. Yeah, well, what do you guys think? I think it kind of, you know, it might be a little bit tall up here, but I do think it kind of captures the whole spirit of the ride pretty well. Pretty well. So we'll put the Carnotaurus skeleton right here, or well, aka the Tyrannosaurus skeleton. And I wanted you guys to be with me for that momentous occasion. I always forget what they are. I believe that there is a Carnotaurus statue that I could technically use, but I haven't unlocked any of the statues that require unlocking. Such as like the Maiasaurus statue. I was gonna put the Maiasaurus statue to like where Aladar is, because I was gonna build that too, but I don't have it. I don't have the Maiasaurus statue. I can't speak. I'm sorry. So we'll just have to wait to do that. And we'll put it like right there. There we go. Nice. Oh yeah, and there's also like this explosion thing right here with a little bit of a Carnotaurus on top. I don't know how well I can do that. Like I know there is ways to do that, but I don't really know how to do them. Not quite a Carnotaurus roaring, but it captures the same idea. There we go. Yeah, that's not too terribly bad. Like at the very least you could kind of tell what it's meant to reference, I suppose. Now, I can also probably put dinosaur in text here. In fact, I will. I'll do that right now. I'm only doing Dino because I'm not too sure if Dinosaur would actually fit. So this is just like a just in case, you know, that way I don't accidentally waste too much time on this. I actually don't really hate it. You know, it's not amazing. I don't think anything I build is amazing, but it's not bad. You know, it's not really that bad. I also need to build the statue, of course, where the future Maiasaurus statue will go, which Maiasaurus is not the best fit considering the fact that Maiasaura is a hadrosaur, whereas Iguanodon is not. It's an iguanodontian. Um, but it's like the closest that we can give. And for now, I'll just put some other statue there to just kind of like stand in for Aladar. Aladar is actually standing in the middle of some water. Now, how do I want to do this? Do I want to use actual water? Is that what I want to do? Yeah, I don't think I do. I don't think I do want to use actual water. Instead, we could just, get an actual floor. And we could just do this. I also want to dress it up a little bit and put some extra vegetation, which will also simultaneously hide some of the imperfections that I have in this building. Yeah, it's not half bad, huh? I actually don't hate it. It's not bad. Okay, and then I also need to do the rest of the hallway that leads into the ride. So actually, I'm sure that you guys have already guessed, the ride is going to be some type of tour. The Jurassic tour, to be more specific, considering the fact that you're actually in a car when you're actually riding the ride. So I should plan out where exactly this tour is going to go so I can build around it. It's not going to be a huge ride by any means, but it's going to be big enough. I want to get rid of some of these decorations. I just want to make this look relatively bland, I suppose, because it's going to be like attached to a wall here in a minute. And then I also put this on here because I think there's something similar to that on the actual building. I'm not going to close it off completely because I like the fact that there's like natural light coming in, even though it is still incredibly dark. There's the tunnel. The tunnel leads over here to the Jurassic tour, and then you get on the Jurassic tour, and that's where we get to the actual enclosure bit, which is the exciting bit. Now, here's what I'm going to do. Most of the tour is going to be blocked off by rocks, right? I like rocks. Rocks are sick. This is like one of the biggest deviations from the actual ride because, okay, the ride is indoors, so I want a reference to that. I want a reference to the fact that the ride is indoors by giving you an indoor section. So my plan here is you are riding around here. I'll place down an invisible fence, like right around here, right? Like that. The first animal you're going to see in this indoor portion is going to be the Carnotaurus. The Carnotaurus is the idea. Well, okay. There's a chance that you'll see it indoors, but it's not a guarantee. Oh shoot, I need to make it so that the cars can actually, or the vehicles can actually get out. Oops, my bad. Vehicular transport. You good? There we go. Now you're good. See, you'll be indoors in a cave. And then you'll look to the left and, oh my gosh, there's a Carnotaurus to the left. That's my idea. That's what I'm going for here. Because there is a portion where you have all of the dinosaurs in a cave in Disney's Dinosaur. So why not have a reference to that? I didn't get the chance to do that in my last, in the last Mesozoic Media Park. So why not do it here? It'll look like really spooky. Because honestly, the Disney's Dinosaur ride is a little bit spooky. It's like all of it is indoors. And it's just, I don't know, it's just got like a really eerie presence with it, with all of the animatronic dinosaurs. Really kind of sick, honestly. It's pretty sick. It's pretty awesome. So I'm going to make a lot of this cliff side, because they're indoors, or they're in the cliff, they're in the cave, like so. And then once we get out here, then they'll be outside. And I guess we'll also kind of like make this sort of reflect the type of deserty environment that we spent in the majority of the whatchamacallit of the movie. Okay, so that's the Carnotaurus portion. Also, in order to separate the Carnotaurus from the rest of our main characters, I'm gonna put down some rocks. That's very simple. Like that. Much like the Fantasia enclosure, I want them to be rocks like that. Like I want it to look like they might be in the same enclosure, but they're actually separated by other means. Okay, and then for the rest of the characters, I guess we could just recreate the nesting grounds. Which means we have a fairly simple enclosure on our hands. We can have like a hill, I suppose, because the nesting grounds, it is fairly simple. There's nothing too crazy that goes into it. Last time I just kind of put them into the desert. This time we'll be nicer to them. It's very green in the nesting grounds. This time they actually, they survived the Carnotaurs, and then we'll put in some deep water. You can't not have some vegetation here and there, plenty for them to eat. And to actually contain them, we'll simply just use invisible fences. This will probably be like the only time that I consistently use invisible fences in any of my exhibits here, because I overuse them like way too much in the Evolution 2's version of Mesozoic Media Park. So this time I really want to refrain from using them too much here. But in this case, it'll kind of help make the enclosure feel a little bit more alive. I mean, I could always put down some rocks, but I've already used a ton of rocks in this exhibit, so might as well refrain from that as well. Okay, nesting grounds, dangerous caves where the Carnotaurus will be. Actually, I might as well put, I know I just said that I'm overusing some rocks, but for a cave, it certainly makes sense. We'll put more caves in here. Or, sorry, more rocks in here. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm thinking that this will be the cave where, of course, Crone died. Or Bruton, sorry, not Crone. Crone is the main one. And actually, why don't we, this will be kind of fun. Why don't we put, like, some rocks right here that looked like they collapsed? Like, this is where they broke down that wall and first made it to the nesting grounds in the movie. Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, sweet. I like the way I think. Sometimes. Okay. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the Disney's Dinosaur ride. Now I'm gonna put a statue here because, you know, there's supposed to be a statue there. It's just, unfortunately, it won't be a Maiasaura or an Iguanodon. Maybe they should do an Iguanodon statue. Hey, Frontier, if any of you are listening, do an Iguanodon statue. That way we can do stuff like this. So I won't do a carnivorous dinosaur. Instead, we'll just do this. You know, there's no harm in this. There we go. I kind of like it, guys. I think it's kind of cool. At the very least, I could kind of tell what it's supposed to be. This is my first, like, actual building I have built. And as always, I will place this onto the into the workshop if you guys want to download it for yourselves. Another thing I can also do is put more, like, fossils and more decorations in here to make it look like a mini museum, because that's what it basically is at the park. You know, it's basically just like a mini museum that, like, really gears you up as you get into the ride. It's really cool. So we could realistically do that. And I won't do it just yet because I'm kind of low on time right now. But, you know, if any of you want to download this, then you can definitely put that. So sweet. Let's get these dinosaurs in here. Okay, everybody. And finally, the piece de resistance. There it is, the Disney's Dinosaur ride. Oh, I got to shift those numbers or those letters a little bit. Looks like they're a little bit off-centered, so I could fix that before I put it on the workshop. But yeah, you know, eventually we'll probably replace this with a Maiasaura, or if Frontier ever releases like an Iguanodon statue, we'll just put that there instead. It'll be a lot more fitting. You can simply just go into here. You follow the path into the weight, and of course you can't go on this stuff, so we're gonna have to go into camera mode instead. And then here is the Tyrannosaurus that represents the Carnotaurus that they have right there. Pretty cool, you know, pretty darn sick. I'll have to move that rock right there. You go into here. We need some lights in here. And then we have the path to get into, of course, you know, the beautiful tour. Unfortunately, lights only seem to work at night, so that's why it's currently nighttime. Very creepy. So we'll go into there. Okay, here we go with the tour. So again, you start off in the very spooky section where you could just see the silhouettes of the Carnotaurs. You just barely see the silhouette of it. I think that's so cool. I might add some lights here and there just to add something to, you know, make it a little bit easier to see these animals. But for now, that's not really too terribly bad. Like, I like how creepy it is because I've just heard a lot of people mention how creepy they've always found the Disney's Dinosaur ride. So yeah, that's how we have it. And then you leave the cave and go on to see the beautiful and gorgeous nesting grounds. There we go. There's some of the cast of Disney's Dinosaur. Ah, there we go. You can see Nira and Aladar over there. Of course, our main characters. There's Earl, the Ankylosaurus. Last time I made her a Eupliocephalus because I think that Eupliocephalus actually fits Earl better, but I don't think that Eupliocephalus is in this game, and I did. I think that I completely missed that it didn't make the cut. It'll be added eventually in the future. I know that, but for now, she's an Ankylosaurus. There they are. Sweet. Just existing in the nesting grounds. And yes, I do have pretty much all of the main cast except for the lemurs, because like I said before, there's really nothing that I could put in here that would represent the lemurs. We don't really have any mammals like that. So Yeah, unfortunately, no lemurs, but everyone else is here. That is so cool. I love seeing that actually. There's something so majestic about it. Just having them exist here, you know? But yeah, that is Disney's Dinosaur, combination of both the Disney's Dinosaur ride and the movie. Hello, future Dino guy here. So I just wanted to come back and show you that I actually did like a few changes to the place and made it a little bit better, so to speak. One of my biggest annoyances was the fact that you couldn't walk inside here in first person mode. So I simply just replaced the ground with. I still gotta fix that, but and I gotta fix that. Although that's not as bad, but I simply just replaced the ground with actual paths, so you can go into here and walk in, which will make the final tour that much better. I also properly put in Aladar because when I was watching the footage, it actually appears that I put in the wrong skin. I put in my like Crystal Palace Iguanodon skin instead of the Aladar one that I had made. So we finally have Aladar in here, and we have the rest of the characters with all of their proper skins and everything. So everything is good. So yeah, um, this turned out way better than I thought it would. I was really kind of nervous going into it because I don't usually build stuff like this. So I was kind of stressing a bit. And it turned out a lot better than I thought it would. I thought it turned out pretty dang good. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Thank you all so much for your support. I do appreciate each and every one of you. And until next time, have an awesome day.